Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursaleen nabiyyina Muhammadi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in ma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to our weekly fiqh hour, which has been now fixed for Wednesday at 6 p.m. UK time, which is British summer time for those who are following. And we started this last week, alhamdulillah. And we're going to carry on, inshallah, for as long as there's a need for it. That's what we said at the outset. So please do share with friends and family so they become aware of it. We did also suggest that maybe people could make suggestions rather about potential topics, themes, like we used to do back in the beginning of this year, actually, around sort of Jan-Feb time. Where people thought it might be an idea just to talk for 10-15 minutes on a particular topic and then deal with the Q&A. I'm open, I'm easy. Today I just came back from a janaza. Maulana Khalid, who's somebody that I've known for a long time, and Mufti Anas, mind you, and Maulana Azam as well, three brothers whose sister passed away, I think a day or 2 days ago, if I'm not mistaken. Not long, might have been on the weekend. Yes, it was on the weekend, and today was her janaza. And so, relatively young lady, mid-40s, left behind, I think about 5 children, young children. Sort of the 2 elder ones are coming to sort of marriageable age, but that's life, That's how fast life can go past and without you realizing. So so came back from the janaza. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant her peace, both in this transfer from the dunya to the akhirah and also in the akhirah. Ameen. This weekend, inshallah, I'll be traveling down to London. I have been invited to be a guest at the Sahih al-Bukhari Khatam. I forget the venue. I'm sure I'll be reminded. And so the plan is to go down there, and students who have studied for 7, 8, 9 years full-time in a boarding environment for that length of period through their sort of teenage years into their early 20s, and dedicated their lives to that particular study. And as a sort of a culmination of that study, they reached the end of Sahih al-Bukhari, which is referred to as the Bukhari year, or the Dora year, in which you study the 6 key books of Hadith: Sahih al-Bukhari, Sahih Muslim, Abu Dawood, Ibn Majah, Nasai, and Tirmidhi. And when you've completed the reading of them all, then you have what's referred to as the Khatmu Sahih al-Bukhari, in which the Jalsa takes place. And then the Shaykh al-Hadith will complete the program of study by narrating the last hadith and also giving ijaza to the students who are there. So I will be, inshallah, traveling down there to London for that event. If you are London bound or London based, then I may see you there. I'll share you actually the details. And now that I've stopped for a second, let me see what we have here. So the event is going to be at after Dhuhr on Sunday, so 1:30 p.m. Sunday the 28th of July at Nurul Islam, which is on High Road, Leighton, E10 5AB. I'm assuming that's East London. So that's where the event will take place of the final dars of Sahih al-Bukhari. It's the 16th khatam of Sahih al-Bukhari. So that means for the last 16 years, they have had students graduating. And I've just realized now that I didn't go live on Facebook. But khair, I have pressed it now, so it should be going live there as well. Alhamdulillah. So in that time, if you now have some questions, please, with that introduction done, please put your questions forward. In the meantime, I'm going to check whether we've received questions on the group already, and I will go through them. So, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Mufti. My sister has had a baby and is experiencing postpartum depression. She has no support as she has no family nearby. She asked me to visit her because she's feeling very bad. She lives 130 kilometers away from me. I can drive by car. I don't have a mahram to accompany me. Is it allowed in this exceptional case to travel the distance alone by car? I don't know what 130 kilometers is in miles, but I'm pretty sure it is outside the distance. There we go. So let me put that in. 130 kilometers is 81 miles. So that's outside the range of 55 miles. So it will not be permissible to do so. What should be made is arrangements made for her more locally, or if this sister can travel with a mahram, then she can be left there. So obviously she saved herself as Bilal's mum. So therefore Bilal can go with her, and therefore she can then at least provide support to her. But if she is suffering from depression, then there's going to be more than just sort of physical help that she will need. And also it could be that she needs professional help rather than just somebody around to give a helping hand. So the issue is that that distance is quite fixed. On the gents, we had a question. Where are we now? Which I can't find now. But I think that's it. I think we must have covered. It's deleted it. Okay, so some people do that. They delete the questions. So we are up to scratch then. Sorry, here we are. It wasn't deleted. I was on the wrong thing. Assalamu alaikum. I'd like to know the correct Hijri date according to Wifaqul Ulama calendar for the 18th of December 1994. Any guidance on this would be appreciated. Well, Wifaqul Ulama have only been issuing a calendar for the last sort of, I think, nearly 20 years, 17, 18 years. So if we're on 2024 now, so if we say 18 years, then that's 2006, if I'm not mistaken. So since 2000, we won't have any dates going back to 1994 because we do not have records going back to 1994. So you would have to use what's available online and use that as at least a guiding value. We would not be able to give you a value for that particular date because Wifaqul Ulama have been providing calendars and are making announcements for approximately the last 18 years. Okay, so that's that question. I don't think there's anything else. It's good that I'm on this group. Reminder. Jazakallah khairan. Good reminder, because I was going to move on. Allah bless you. So back to that question. Assalamu alaikum. Inshallah, you are well. Barakallah fiqh. Alhamdulillah, all is good. A question: how should one respond to someone asking if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is unjust rather than unjust? So it's unjust due to the injustices we see in the world on an individual level as well as on a general worldly one. Okay, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's justice is infinite, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's justice is done it comes in its absoluteness on the day of judgment. Up until that time in the world, we are tested and we are given the choice as humans to be just or unjust. Okay, we have that choice. We have been given the choice to be good or to be evil. That's a choice we have. We've been given a choice to believe in the existence of God, believe in the existence of Allah, or to not believe in the existence of Allah. We've been given that choice. We've been given the choice to, even when we believe in Allah, to pray to Him, worship Him, fast, give zakah, and all these things. We have been given a choice. And it is this choice that we, when we make those decisions, how the outcome of those choices is either justice or injustice. So if I'm the Amir of my house, if I'm the Amir of a locality, if I'm the Amir of a country, and I am then in a position of power, and I make decisions. Now, if my decisions are being led by, I don't know, seeking favor with somebody, fearing the effect of somebody, greed, if these are factors which are coming into my life and I use these then to decide matters, naturally I'm going to be unjust because I'm not seeking justice. I'm not seeking to, look at fairness. So therefore, that's going to happen. Hence the reason why in the dunya there is injustice, because we are the ones who are conducting that. We are the ones who are either being just or unjust. That's a choice that we have. So that's not something we can blame Allah for, because we're making those decisions. So when somebody murders somebody outside in the world, then that person has murdered that person. When somebody runs somebody over, then that person has run that person over. So these are choices that we make. So this is not necessarily Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala being unjust. Does he permit injustices to take place in the world? Yes, he does. He permits the worship of idols. Even though he does not agree with it, even though he does not want humans to do that, he gives the choice to humans so that they can have that choice. La ikraha fi din. There's no compulsion in faith. People are given that choice. That's why when we are given the responsibility to preach Islam, then that is why we should just preach it without necessarily thinking that we have failed if that person does not accept Islam, or thinking that we've succeeded if the person accepts Islam. Hidayah is solely from Allah. So I hope that deals with that these injustices will continue. And it is mentioned throughout our literature that this is not Jannah. This world is not perfect. In fact, this world is imperfect. It is made imperfect. That is that our only saving grace, that it is made imperfect so that we don't have a longing for it. Can you imagine if this world was perfect? Who would want to leave this dunya? Who would want Jannah? Because we'd say this world is perfect. And it mentions that ad-dunya sijnul mu'min, that the world is actually a prison for the believer. And it is a Jannah for those who don't believe. So if it is a prison, then what happens in a prison? Prison is not a nice place. Well, nowadays prisons are relatively nice places. But what I mean is, if you went 100 years back, 200 years back, a prison was not a nice place. It was usually a dungeon in the bottom of a castle or in the bottom of an old building where rats roamed, and you never saw the light of day. And, people would forget about you. They'd only realize afterwards that, hold on, didn't we lock somebody up in that room? And they'd go inside and there'd just be your bones there, because they would completely forget about you. That's what a prison was like. So therefore, these injustices will continue because this world is created like that. It is created like that. It's not as though Allah has lost control or evil is succeeding. Evil may be becoming more and more widespread, but that's by the permission of Allah. That's by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala already aware of that. It's not as though it's happening outside of his control. Everything happens in his control. So I hope that answers that query. If not, please do respond back. Assalamu alaikum. Would like to know, is it a sin if you are holding a Quran and it falls off by mistake? What are we supposed to do in this situation? So a sin is when you intentionally commit an act which is forbidden by the law. Okay? A sin is when you intentionally commit an act, okay, which is against the law, yani the Sharia. That's a sin. To drop something is an accident. Okay? So when we're holding the mushaf and we drop something, it's an accident. Is there any repercussions for that accident? No, apart from making tawbah. But astaghfirullah, and that's only because if a person feels that they've degraded the Quran or something of that nature. But if it's just something like, it collapses, it falls on the floor unintentionally, then you've not done anything wrong, and there is no kafara for it. There is no expiation for it. For instance, let's just say when we accidentally drink water whilst we're fasting. Right now, if you accidentally drink water, you forgetfully drink water, then your fast is valid. But if water accidentally falls to the back of your throat and you're aware of it, you're putting water in your mouth, you know you're fasting, and it goes down your throat, then your fast will break. Do you need to, make astaghfar or whatever? No, because it was an accident. It wasn't intentional, but that actually has an impact on your fast. The impact it has on your fast is that it breaks your fast. But in this case, you're holding a mushaf, it drops to the ground, it's accidental. If you're doing something silly by, moving it around or playing with it or you're doing something daft, then, there is some blame there, some blameworthy, because you're not showing due respect to your mushaf. But if you're holding your mushaf like a normal person would hold their mushaf and it just slips out of your hand, then it's just a mistake. So there is nothing one has to give. Alhamdulillah. Barakallah fiqh. Okay, so let's take this question that's come on here. We're not allowed to believe in superstitions, as I understand. But what about saying something may give you good luck? And you say Allah will be the one to give you that good luck. Of course, we can say when a person is in their mother's womb, then one of the matters that gets decided when the angel is blowing in the soul is that am shaqiyun aw sa'idun, that is this person going to be unfortunate or is he going to be fortunate? Good fortune. I won't use the word good luck because let's use good fortune and unfortunate, meaning is this person going to lead a difficult life where situations are going to keep coming up and it's not going to be a very fruitful life. It doesn't mean that this person will be less pious, don't get me wrong, but it's a very challenging life. He's going to lose loved ones. He's going to be struggling for work. He's going to be struggling for his health. He's going to be impacted. There's going to be musibah after musibah after musibah. Does not mean that this person will be impious. All it's saying is that he leads a difficult life. And another person could be sa'idun. Sa'idun in the sense that he is leading a very fortunate life. Alhamdulillah, he is born in a very good family. He has a very good upbringing. He then marries a very good woman. He has a very good job. He has very good children. So everything is working for him. Everything is like good fortune. So this is somebody can be made like that to Allah can create somebody who is fortunate and he can create somebody who is unfortunate. That is his will. So we don't say that certain acts will bring us good fortune and certain acts will bring us misfortune. What we do say, obviously, is that we make dua for ease. We make dua for a comfortable life. We make dua for a less troublesome life. And we seek refuge in Allah from a difficult life, from a challenging life. Having said that, sometimes an easy life might be a life which turns us away from Allah. And sometimes a difficult life might be a life which turns us away from Allah. So we should ask and say, oh Allah, put me in the best state, whatever that state may be, one in which I remember you, Yani Allah, in which I remember you and I do not forget you. So that would be the best way to describe that. We cannot say, like, for example, don't smash a window, you get a mirror, rather, you get 7 years of bad luck. Don't walk under a ladder, you get bad luck. Don't do this, you get bad luck. We don't believe in these kind of bad omens and things like that. That, oh, you stepped over this, so that's going to happen. Or, people used to say strange things that don't step over children because they'll never grow or something like that. Or don't put your hands on your head because this happens. And a lot of these are just superstitious things. All we're supposed to do is, believe in Allah, and that's it. How do we respond when someone asks us which sect we follow? It gets so complicated with sects and different subsects. It is quite simple, Haris, is that the Prophet ﷺ said that his ummah will be split into 73 sects or 73 groups, meaning each will proclaim to be upon haqq. Each will proclaim to know the true interpretation of the deen. Each will proclaim to know how to practice the faith. What is the correct way to practice the faith? And he mentioned that there's only one group that is saved. And that one group that is saved is those who are upon my sunnah and upon the sunnah of the khulafa. And that's where the phrase Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah comes from. That's where the phrase comes from. Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. So if there is a people who not just self-identifies as Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, but actually by their practice and beliefs are Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, then that is the saved group. Okay, that is the saved group. If he predicted this, why didn't he say what not to follow? Because it is easier, Haris, to mention the group to follow than the 72 groups not to follow, because that would make it complicated. You asked for simplicity, and this is the simple way. If someone says to me, if there was a restaurant that had 80 dishes in it, and someone says to me, Mufti Sahib, what can I eat from there? I'm not going to tell him the 79 that he can't eat. I'm going to tell him the one that he can eat. That would be silly on my part to say, well, you can't eat this, and you can't eat that, and you can't eat this, and you can't eat that, and you can't eat this. And this person's going to say, okay, I've already forgotten what you mentioned, what I can't eat. Rather, I would say, you can only eat the fish. Everything else you can't eat. Now it's nice and simple for this brother. He goes into the restaurant, he only orders fish. So the deen is simple. And what you're saying there, Haris, is that it would make it complicated. And the Prophet ﷺ would always teach something simple. Okay. So similarly, when someone asks, what can I wear or what can't I wear? The Prophet ﷺ enumerated those things you can't wear, because that list was smaller in ihram. When this person asked, what can I wear in ihram? The Prophet ﷺ answered by saying, this is what you can't wear. Why? Because that list was smaller. So because that list was smaller, it is easy for the person to remember that, oh, I can't wear 4 things or 5 things. I can't wear stitched clothing. I can't wear something which goes over my metatarsal on my foot. I can't wear a head covering. Okay, I can't wear a face covering. And so that this person knew what he can't do, and then he knew that anything else was left behind. So this is a way of teaching. This is the way as teachers as well, when we are teachers and preachers, when we're doing our work, these are methods that we employ and use. So let me just see if any more questions have come on the group. No, I think that's all answered for and done. Any more on the chat here, people? So I'll give you a few minutes, inshallah, just to put your questions on here, so we can deal with them. So whilst we're waiting for those few questions, if there are going to be any questions that arrive, then I'll just give notification, inshallah, that we will be, as I mentioned when on the outset, 6 p.m. on Wednesdays, 6 p.m. UK time, British summer time. On Wednesdays, this is going to be a regular thing, inshallah, for the foreseeable future. As long as we have an appetite within our community, then I will make myself available for these questions and queries. Hence, I do ask you, please, do share the video. Do put it up on your various social media platforms that you're on. The minimum you're on is WhatsApp, so put it on WhatsApp as well. Share it amongst your friends and family. That's your dawah work done, at least for the day. And so they can benefit and they can join, so they can continue to learn. And that's our approach. I ran into an old friend, an old colleague as well, whilst I went for the janaza today, Maulana Shiraz Sahab, who taught at our madrasa as well. And he was saying, Mufti Sahib, we need to get together and do some dars together, inshallah. So I said, yeah, no problem. He's going on 40 days Jama in Tabligh. And when he returns, we'll sit down and we may do something, inshallah. But that will be off line. It won't be online. It will be just private. So therefore, as I said, I will try to fit it outside of Wednesday. But really it depends how much we can keep people interested and engaged with what we're trying to do. So it seems we have met our appetite in the questions and answers. If that is the case, then I will bid you farewell, inshallah. And all being well, 6 p.m. On Wednesday, we will continue this. It will be August soon, if I'm not mistaken. I think it might be August next time round when we come on, inshallah. Other than that, jazakumullah khairan to all of you, and see you all again next week. Wa akhiru da'wana and alhamdulillah rabbil alameen. Oh, just when you're finishing off, somebody comes in and they say, Salam, quick question. What's the quick question, Ashraf? Might be a quick question. Might need a long answer. Fire away, sir. Give us your quick question. I'm on Fiqhour. What am I what I am going Umrah, but sometimes have urine drops. What are you asking? Are you asking me that in the state of wudu, that you're not in the state of wudu? Just elaborate on your question, please. It depends if you are ma'zur, you see. I've asked, this question has been asked many times before. And if you go onto our YouTube channel, you'll find that I have answered it many times as well before. Is if you come under the hukam of ma'zur, then you may be able to apply something that will protect you from these urine drops. Okay. You can tie something around your lower part to catch the urine drips in, so that it saves your clothes becoming impure. And then obviously you'd be able to pray, carry out your tawaf in that state. So you have to determine whether you are ma'zur. That's the first thing. To determine if you are ma'zur is based upon the fact that you have not gone 10-15 minutes without a drop of urine coming, meaning it is perpetual, it is constant, it is unstoppable. Once you reach that stage where there's not a 10-minute gap where your urine stops, then you would come under ma'zur. Once you come under ma'zur, then your wudu, even though you're still dripping urine, your wudu will not be considered as broken, because this is outside of your power. And it would be considered as though your wudu is still valid. You would then need to take some steps in order to protect yourself from the urine drops. You can put like a piece of cloth there or something like that that will catch that in there. So that's that. So you need to determine that first. Suhaib, walaikum salam. Late starter, mashallah. You look, you were still here, Suhaib. We were ready to wrap up. Do you have a question, Suhaib? If you do, please put your question on, as we will be disappearing shortly. No question. That's not a problem. Okay, excellent. There was too much suspense you built up there from the point I asked you that, and you putting on there no question. No problem. Jazakallah khairan. So again, if that is it, we've done our quick questions and our not so quick questions, then inshallah, let's bring this to an end. As I say repeatedly, please do share with friends and family. This is your dawah. If you want to be part of dawah, if you want to get reward of dawah, then you need to do something. If you can't teach, if you can't preach, then at least you can share the work of ulama and benefit from the reward that people get. Yes, please, Suhaib, you can suggest themes, 100%. What I would do, Suhaib, is suggest that you suggest themes on our Markaz al-Ifta, so that at least it's recorded there. And therefore, then I can sort of go through them and select particular ones, because I think that will be worthwhile. It worked very well sort of beginning of the year when we did that before Ramadan, and then obviously we went on to Ramadan mode, and then after that we went on to sort of Hajj mode. So we were very busy with those particular topics. But inshallah, till next week, 6 p.m. Remember, every Wednesday, inshallah, for the foreseeable future at 6 p.m. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.